Before us lies one of the most chilling and enduring critiques of political power ever written. This is not just a story about farm animals, it is a razor-sharp mirror held up to the darkest aspects of human nature and the crushing reality of failed revolutions. Welcome to the grim, brilliant world of George Orwell's 1945 masterpiece, Animal Farm. In a searing allegorical journey that mirrors the rise of the Soviet Union under Stalin, Orwell takes us to Manor Farm, a place where idealism is born and immediately corrupted. It's a place where a noble dream of freedom and equality, animalism, is twisted by cunning minds into a nightmare of tyranny and oppression. The book asks a crucial, terrifying question: what happens when the liberators become the new oppressors? You are about to witness the slow, deliberate betrayal of an entire populace, a cautionary tale about how language is weaponized, history is rewritten, and how absolute power ultimately devours its own revolutionary ideals. Get ready to explore the timeless warning hidden within the walls of Animal Farm. Our story begins with the spark of revolution, kindled by an old, revered boar named Old Major. Gathering the farm animals in secret, he unveils a powerful, revolutionary dream, a vision of a world free from the tyranny of man. He diagnoses their lives as miserable, laborious, and short, directly resulting from human exploitation. Man is the enemy, and the solution is a radical, collective uprising. Old Major formalizes his dream into a philosophy he calls animalism and introduces the stirring, anthemic song Beasts of England. This song, a powerful promise of a utopian future, galvanizes the animals. Old Major soon passes, but the seeds of rebellion have been sown. His final powerful message rings in their ears: all men are enemies, all animals are comrades. The stage is set for a profound and ultimately tragic transformation. The opportunity arises sooner than expected. Mr. Jones, in his characteristic drunken stupor, neglects to feed the animals one day too many. Driven by hunger and Old Major's vision, the animals spontaneously revolt. It is a stunning, decisive victory. Mr. Jones and his men are routed and driven off the land. The revolution is complete. They rename their newly liberated world Animal Farm. The pigs, recognized as the most intelligent animals, quickly assume leadership. They formulate the tenets of animalism into the 7 Commandments, the unalterable law of the land written on the barn wall. The most critical one: all animals are equal. For a brief, shining moment, the animals feel the intoxicating rush of genuine freedom, believing they have built a society founded on pure equality and justice. The wake of the revolution, 2 primary pig leaders emerge: Snowball and Napoleon. Snowball, an intellectual and eloquent speaker, is genuinely idealistic. He focuses on spreading animalism and improving the farm through innovation, notably by planning to build a windmill to generate electricity and reduce labor. Napoleon, however, is cunning, silent, and ruthlessly focused on securing personal power. While Snowball organizes committees and educates the animals, Napoleon focuses on secretly training a litter of puppies, indoctrinating them from birth to be personally loyal to him. A crucial divide is forming: genuine idealism versus naked ambition. The initial harmony of the revolution is dissolving into a tense, ideological power struggle that threatens the farm's very foundation. The conflict culminates in a devastating display of brute force. During a debate on the windmill, Napoleon, unable to win by persuasion, unleashes the dogs he secretly raised. They violently chase Snowball from the farm, effectively ending the democratic process. Napoleon instantly seizes complete control, abolishing the animal meetings. His first act of blatant manipulation is to co-opt Snowball's windmill idea. Claiming it as his own original plan and necessity, he asserts that he had merely pretended to oppose to rid the farm of the dangerous criminal Snowball. The loyal but simple animals, led by the persuasive propaganda of the pig Squealer, accept this rewritten history. The dream of animalism has just been assassinated, replaced by the chilling, non-negotiable rule of a single tyrant. With Snowball gone, Napoleon and the pigs begin their inexorable descent into corruption. The first casualty is the founding principle of equality. Squealer, acting as Napoleon's brilliant propagandist, begins the chilling process of historical revisionism. When the animals question the pigs' increasingly privileged behavior, sleeping in beds, drinking milk, eating the best apples, Squealer convinces them that these actions are necessary for the pigs' brain work, and that the alternative is the return of Mr. Jones. Slowly, secretly, the pigs begin altering the 7 Commandments on the barn wall. The commandment, "No animal shall sleep in a bed," suddenly includes the words "with sheets." The animals are confused, but their memory is poor, and Squealer's words are powerful. The first and most loyal victim of this manipulation is Boxer, the enormous dedicated workhorse who adopts the unwavering motto, "I will work harder." The demands of building the windmill become all-consuming. The animals work exhausting, near-starvation shifts, driven by the belief that they are working for their own freedom. Napoleon, meanwhile, begins engaging in the ultimate betrayal of Old Major's vision: trade with human beings. He justifies this by claiming the farm needs supplies and funds. Mr. Whymper, a solicitor, becomes the intermediary. This contact with the outside world solidifies the pig's status as the new elite. To maintain fear and control, Napoleon launches terrifying public purges, forcing animals to confess to crimes of collaborating with Snowball, now conveniently labeled a foreign agent. The atmosphere is one of chilling, absolute paranoia, where silence is the only safety and truth is dictated solely by the pig in power.
Taking a quick breather. If you're enjoying these insights, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. I'd also love to hear your take on this summary so far, so drop a comment below. Now, let's get back to the book. Napoleon's dealings with humans backfire catastrophically. He sells timber to a neighboring farmer, Frederick, who pays with counterfeit banknotes. The subsequent rage leads Frederick and his men to attack Animal Farm, culminating in a vicious battle. The animals fight with desperate, heroic fervor, but the centerpiece of their hard work, the half-finished windmill, is mercilessly blown up. The farm animals eventually repel the humans, a victory Napoleon forces them to celebrate. But the celebration is hollow. The loss of the windmill and the realization of Napoleon's deceit, the counterfeit money, the broken trust cast a pall over their supposed triumph. The pig government is failing, but their grip on power only tightens. As the pigs move further away from the ideals of animalism, their physical resemblance to the humans they overthrew becomes more pronounced. They begin to wear clothes, drink alcohol excessively, and walk on their hind legs. The remaining animals, their memory faded and corrupted by Squealer, can only stare at the barn wall in confusion. Then, the final terrifying alteration is made to the law. The original 7 commandments are wiped away, replaced by a single, chilling maxim: all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. This phrase is the final, cynical epitaph of the revolution. It is the ultimate corruption of the noble ideal, perfectly encapsulating the new regime's hypocrisy and cruelty. The story's most heartbreaking betrayal comes with the collapse of Boxer. His massive strength and blind loyalty were the engine of Animal Farm's progress, but years of back-breaking labor finally take their toll. He collapses while hauling stone, too weak to rise. The animals are genuinely concerned, but Napoleon sees only an economic opportunity. He claims Boxer will be taken to a hospital for treatment, but Benjamin, the cynical, wise old donkey, alerts the others to the truth. The cart sent to take Boxer away is marked with the sign of the knacker, the glue factory. Boxer has been sold for slaughter. Squealer quickly delivers a complex, deceptive justification, claiming the sign was an old one. But the money from Boxer's death, earned from the sale of their most dedicated comrade, is used by the pigs to buy a case of whiskey. The ultimate sacrifice of the working class is bought and paid for by the indulgences of their rulers. Years pass. The farm is now wealthier, but only the pigs and dogs benefit. The other animals cannot distinguish their lives from the time of Mr. Jones. The final damning scene takes place during a dinner party. Napoleon is hosting human farmers from neighboring lands. He announces that the practice of calling each other comrade will cease, and the bones of Old Major have been dug up and reburied. The name of the farm is officially changed back to the Manor Farm. As the pigs and men exchange toasts and compliments, each accusing the other of being the better exploiter of their animals, the other farm animals watch through the window. In a dizzying moment of recognition, the line between man and pig vanishes entirely. The faces around the table, once distinctly pig-like, now blur into the features of men, and the faces of the men shift and morph into the features of pigs. The animals realize with horror that they can no longer tell which is which. The revolution has completed its tragic, cyclical turn. The oppressive tyranny of man has simply been replaced by the equally oppressive tyranny of pig. George Orwell's Animal Farm is more than an allegory of the Russian Revolution. It is a timeless, universal warning. It shows how revolutionary fervor can be hijacked, how high ideals can be cynically manipulated, and how propaganda, fear, and the slow, insidious chipping away at truth can enslave a populace, just as thoroughly as chains and whips. The story warns us to be eternally vigilant against leaders who consolidate power, control information, and rewrite history. It argues that a revolution is only as good as the collective memory and critical thinking of the people it is meant to serve. The failure of Animal Farm is the failure of the animals to challenge their rulers when the lies began. The tragic cycle of oppression, revolution, and new oppression ends not with a bang, but with a horrifying, indistinguishable blur. It remains a powerful lesson in political philosophy and a stark reminder that the fight for true freedom and equality requires constant, active participation. The best way to master a book is to share what you've learned. If you enjoyed this journey, please subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. Before you go, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment on this summary below, or suggest the next book we should read. Let's continue building this library together.